Tonight on Cronkite News, lawmakers are working to avoid a government shutdown before Friday.
Plus, hundreds of ballet dancers converge on the Valley to compete for a unique scholarship.
And the final Territorial Cup matchup between Arizona and Arizona State as Pac-12 rivals. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Eric List.
And I'm Leslie Chapman. Thank you for joining us.
We begin with news out of Washington. This afternoon, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announced that he will be stepping down.
He also said his historic tenure will be ending in November of this year. But McConnell still plans to serve out his Senate term until January of 2027. He is the longest-serving Senate leader in history. We've reached out to Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Kyrsten Sinema for comment, but have not heard back. McConnell turned 82 last week and addressed his decision to step down as the Republican leader on the Senate floor.
Father Time remains undefeated. I'm no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues would remember my name. It's time for the next generation of leadership.
Meanwhile, Congress is busy working to avoid a government shutdown. Funding for several agencies, including Veterans Affairs, expires on Friday. And then another group of agencies, including Health and Human Services, is set to expire on March 8th if a funding deal is not reached.
Back here in the Valley, several members from the world of politics and business are touting a new campaign.
It's called Connect Maricopa in support of Proposition 479, which will appear on the November ballot.
Governor Katie Hobbs helped kick off the campaign yesterday. She was joined by other local politicians from both sides of the aisle, as well as local business leaders. The proposition continues a half-cent sales tax already in place. The money would go to fund freeway construction and public transit.
Now to the weather, which is going back and forth really between spring and winter lately, Leslie.
Yeah, Eric, Max Williams joins us from the Cronkite Weather Center to hopefully give us some clarity on the rest of the week's weather.
Thanks, guys. As we close out the month of February, we can look back at a month that has brought us some extreme outliers, especially in the high temps that we've seen. Next to me here are the numbers that Phoenix residents can typically expect for the month of February, but they've seen highs get all the way up to 81 degrees, if you can remember back to the beginning of the month, and drop as low as in the 50s at certain points. Now for the rainfall, that's been close to what they can usually expect, but now we're getting a little bit closer to baseline. We'll talk a little bit more about the weather that can be expected heading into March later on the show. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Max Williams.
Youth America Grand Prix recently hosted a scholarship audition for hundreds of local dancers. With pointe shoes and leotards in hand, these dancers competed for scholarships that could send them to some of the world's best ballet schools. Ripley Simone Kennebrew was at the YAGP competition to learn more about the importance of these scholarships.
Before the competition begins, these athletes are warming up and running through their choreography.
Consider it both, yeah. It's definitely an art, but it also has that sport element because it is like every other sport you can think of. We all need like physical therapy, all of that.
For 4 days, these competitors leaped and twirled, hoping to make an impression and possibly land a scholarship.
Youth America Grand Prix is the world's largest student ballet scholarship audition, and it's the world's #1 pipeline of talent for the world's advanced schools and companies.
And that's no small task. The competition hosts more than 15,000 dancers, yet only 2% of the competitors are invited to the finals, where $500,000 in scholarships are awarded. For many competitors, a scholarship will allow them to continue on as a professional ballet dancer.
Dance education is costly. If you figure that, a pair of pointe shoes can cost up to $200, and that you need several of them during a month. There is the tutus, there is the costumes, there is the tights, there are the ballet classes.
Many dancers practice for up to 40 hours a week, as much if not more than other athletes their age. But if you look at the amount of scholarship money the NCAA provides for more traditional sports, it's more than $3.6 billion every year to almost 180,000 student athletes. But for dancers like McKenna Gibson, winning a scholarship is impactful for more than finances.
It doesn't have to do with like the money or getting accepted. It's more of like the feeling that like you accomplished something that you wanted to do.
After all, the goal is to be seen by professional dance schools and take their careers to the next level. In Phoenix, Ripley Simone Kennebrew, Cronkite News.
Phoenix was one of 30 audition cities in the U.S. for dancers to show off their skills to a panel of judges. Dancers from 15 countries also participated, and in April, the finalists from each city and country will perform in New York, where dancers will compete one last time and be awarded with scholarships.
Coming up next, how this doll changed the course of fashion and possibly this year's Oscars.
Find out what the Phoenix Art Museum is doing to commemorate this cultural icon.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
The 96th Oscars are set to kick off in just a few weeks on March 10th. One of the big movies of the year was Barbie, and although the film only received 8 nominations, Barbie's reach goes far beyond cinema. I took a look at how Barbie has influenced everything from women's culture to fashion. Barbie is a doll and a brand that was launched in 1959 that changed the foundations of Mattel, a major toy company. But Barbie, sporting a black and white bathing suit and a blonde ponytail, also changed the foundations of fashion.
So there's a moment where Barbie is moving into the miniskirt, just like everyone else, because Mary Quant has introduced the miniskirt. Barbie has a space, an astronaut suit before man even lands on the moon. So Barbie was right there doing things along with society, just in step.
The Phoenix Art Museum is the first art museum to host the exhibit, Barbie, a Cultural Icon.
Once the film had taken hold and was incredibly popular, we decided that it was time for us to move on this potential tour.
The exhibit was developed before the film came out. It looks at Barbie's history and explores in depth the relationship between Barbie and fashion.
We see the influence going both ways, right? Where we have Barbie in fashion, but then they continue to make more Barbies influenced by what's going on. So it's a really cool kind of circular thing of how we see the interaction between Barbie and how we like to dress.
While we get to see the many variations of Barbie in the latest movie, including Barbie's impressive wardrobe, the film has also meant something bigger to many women.
To some people, a lot of the things that are going on in the movie are new to them, right? These are not things people have articulated before, right? Like what the patriarchy is, or the sort of contradictions of what it means to be a woman in society. They may have experienced it, but not had the language for it.
As people view the displays of Barbie pink at the museum, Jean hopes the lessons of Barbie go beyond the toys in front of them.
Our imaginations are limitless, and each of us deserves the opportunity to explore, play, imagine, and redirect as much as we want.
Barbie, a cultural icon, is currently open to the public at the Phoenix Art Museum. And Eric, if you were wondering, the exhibit will be available until July 7th, 2024.
Thank you, Leslie. Well, now to the weather. We got a little taste of what to expect earlier in the broadcast.
Yeah, that's right. However, Max Williams joins us again in the studio to give us a better look at the rest of the week.
Thanks, guys. Well, as we look ahead to tonight, we've got a pretty good evening in store for us. Temperatures just dipping into the mid-60s as we approach 10 o'clock p.m. tonight. But I'm a little more interested to take a look at tomorrow morning, specifically the precipitation that we can expect for that southeast portion of the state down here. I'm looking at Tucson, even up in White River as well. Those showers are going to be out of the way, though, by around 11 a.m. as you see that system moving eastward. And throughout the rest of the week, we can expect to see pretty much clear skies except for a few clouds rolling in on Saturday. So what does that do for the temperatures? Well, as you see down here, it's pretty low, 47 in Tucson, 40 down in Tombstone, and we warm up a little bit, 54 degrees in Phoenix. But how do those temps change throughout the day? Well, we're seeing a significant increase, 77 degrees in Phoenix, even getting up to 55 in the Grand Canyon up north. So how about the next couple of days? Well, as we head into March on Friday, look at that, 80 degrees and sunny, and that's going to continue into the weekend as well. As temperatures fall off a little bit, we're going to see partially cloudy through about Thursday as some of those clouds come in. So get outside before that comes. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Max Williams.
Now taking a look at some crazy weather across the country. Strong winds, high temperatures, and dry grass in Texas are burning a huge blaze.
Wildfires are spreading across the Texas Panhandle and are forcing evacuations.
Thousands of homes and businesses are without power so far. The fire at Smokehouse Creek north of Amarillo has burned through 500,000 acres and is 0% contained, which is now the second largest wildfire in Texas history. Governor Greg Abbott issued a disaster declaration and urges Texans to limit activities that could create sparks.
I'm Kevin Malater with a preview of your Cronkite Sports Report. Up next, a story about overcoming one's past mistakes and finding new beginnings. Find out how this former Phoenix Sun turned his life around for the better and the lessons he learned the hard way and how he shares those experiences with the world.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sensei Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to see.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
And welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Kevin Malater.
And I'm Josh Amick. Well, Kevin, we have a big game tonight at the Desert Financial Arena.
Yeah, Josh, the Sun Devils face their rivals, the Arizona Wildcats, in what will be the final regular season meeting between these two rivals as Pac-12 schools.
Round 2 of the Territorial Cup is tonight after last week's 45-point loss. The Sun Devils will look to address one of its biggest issues from last game. One of the reasons of last week's loss was a 21-point output from Jaden Bradley, who averages 5.8 points per game this season. A main focus for the Sun Devils this game is to minimize the volume impact of Arizona's complementary players.
You're gonna give some things up, unfortunately, to guys like Ballet and Caleb Love, and you got to try and contain some of the guys that maybe over the course of the whole season have not had those type of stats.
The Sun Devils have 3 more games this regular season before the start of the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas. Josh, another storyline tonight as Arizona State closes the lid on their regular season home schedule is that the team will host its senior night. Among those being honored is Bobby Hurley, who's the son of ASU head coach Bobby Hurley. The younger Hurley will lace up his sneakers at Desert Financial Arena for the final time tonight as the Sun Devils host their in-state rival number 6 Arizona. The former Notre Dame prep standout has played limited minutes during his time in Tempe. Hurley, who is also a student with Cronkite News, said several moments have stood out to him, including scoring his first career points and getting key minutes against Washington last Thursday, but none greater than getting the opportunity to play for his father.
I mean, it's been really special. I mean, a lot of kids, I think, go to college and sometimes to get away from their family. I'm the opposite. I see my dad every day. So it's been awesome just to interact with him, not just as a coach, but as a parent on and off the court. And again, he has really taught me so many things. And it's been such a blessing to be at ASU with him.
Keeping with the Sun Devils, standout and fan favorite Jose Perez has had quite a few stops before arriving here at ASU. Cronkite News reporter Dorian Zavala has more on the path walked by Perez to have him end up wearing the maroon and gold.
Grit, determination, and adaptable are three words you can use to describe Jose Perez, an experienced player who has been in big games throughout his collegiate career. He's in his 5th stop in 6 years, and in his words, it's his experience that has shaped him.
That I'm able to adjust anything that's thrown at me. I've lived a hard knock life. I've had 3 coaches fired back to back to back, and it's just adjusting to a new system, and that's what's going to happen in life. You have to adjust to new people.
It's the road traveled that has helped him develop that mentality. Starting out at Gardner-Webb, he averaged about 15 points per game for the Running Bulldogs. After his 2-year stint at Gardner-Webb, he transferred to Marquette, where he only played 10 games for the Golden Eagles, averaging 3 points per game.
I went to Marquette, and then Coach Wojciechowski ended up getting fired, and then ended up going to Manhattan, where I thrived again, went back, and then that coach got fired, who was like my father figure.
While at Manhattan, Perez earned all MAC honors and led the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference in scoring. It was here where Perez took his game to the next level.
Jose wanted, he wants to win. He always wanted to win. He was able to win in high school, won in prep school. So, and then obviously him being at Gardner-Webb, him experiencing going to the tournament, he knows how to win.
After the dismissal of his coach at Manhattan, Perez attempted to transfer to West Virginia, but the NCAA did not approve his waiver, and he sat out the 2022-2023 season. He entered the transfer portal yet again and found his way to ASU, where he's made an immediate impact.
It's been fun. It's been different. It was something I had to get used to, a guard kind of that likes to play out the post, mid-post and stuff like that, but it's been fun because he's a winner, and he plays hard, and he just go out there and do his job and try and win.
Coach Hurley has a lot of confidence in Perez, and the feeling is quite mutual. When asked what has made his transition to ASU easy, he had one answer.
Coach Hurley. I've adjusted so well to him, just the person who he is. He's been able to put me in spots on and off the court where I'm able to be myself and thrive.
Perez has aspirations of playing in the NBA, but for now, his main goal is to help the Sun Devils make the NCAA tournament. In Tempe, Arizona, Dorian Zavala, Cronkite News.
The final home game of the season is tonight at 8, and Arizona State will honor not only senior Jose Perez, but the 3 other seniors on the team prior to tip-off.
From NBA star to sleeping in his car, former son Rex Chapman's life has been a roller coaster. But now he gives the world an inside look at all the loops and turns in his life in his new autobiography. Our Jack Pearson has more from his public appearance at Changing Hands Bookstore in Tempe.
Basketball star, drug addict, social media influencer, and author. A lot of titles can define who Rex Chapman is and was. Now he shares his emotional and personal life experiences in his new memoir titled, It's Hard for Me to Live with Me.
I feel pretty conflicted being here, being celebrated for failing so miserably at life. And today's a hard day for my family.
Chapman, a former first-round draft pick out of the University of Kentucky, played 12 seasons in the NBA, including 4 years with the Phoenix Suns. Like his nickname suggests, he was a king.
I knew Rex Chapman as King Rex, Rexington, the Phoenix Sun player, the absolute monster of a ball player that he was. Knew him that way, and then remembered the fall.
That fall all started with an opioid addiction that Chapman developed after surgery. That addiction led to other issues, including gambling problems, financial uncertainty, and mental health instability.
Now I'm sleeping in my car, totally out of cash, replaying every dumb decision I've made over and over.
Chapman grew up in an era where he was taught to hide his feelings and have thick skin. Now times are changing, and men are able to express themselves more freely, and his story may serve as a beacon of hope for those going through similar situations.
I think it is so critical that we have public figures like Rex who are talking about these things that, might carry a stigma because their, mental health rates are soaring.
If you hear one thing, it can change your whole life. And when you're at your worst moments, sometimes you're willing to listen. That's hopefully what people will get from this.
Chapman says he still battles day to day with his past, but he is happy and healthy. He is back to King Rex, only this time a little different. In Tempe, Jack Pearson, Cronkite News.
You can find Chapman's autobiography on Amazon and your local bookstore. The NFL Combine has arrived. We take a look at all the prospective draft picks from the Arizona Cardinals. Cronkite sports reporter Lauren Avenatti is here to tell us more.
The NFL Combine kicks off this week at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis with a new batch of prospects looking to show off their skills ahead of the draft next month. Ahead of the physical portion of the Combine, the Arizona Cardinals find themselves in a very interesting position with the 4th and 27th picks in the draft. So let's dive right into who should be on their radar. While the 3 teams ahead of the Cardinals are in need of a quarterback, Arizona has quarterback Kyler Murray on lock for the foreseeable future, so a wide receiver is among some of the biggest needs for this team. Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. and LSU's Malik Neighbors are opting out of the Combine, so we are left with Washington's Rome Odunze. Odunze is coming off of a national championship run with the Huskies, where he scored 13 touchdowns on top of 1,640 yards. He says he's been training for the Combine and aims to run a 4.4-second 40-yard dash. If the Cardinals can't get a top wide receiving prospect, it is likely that they will trade down from the 4th pick. If they do this, players like offensive tackle Joe Alt from Notre Dame and quarterback Nate Wiggins from Clemson are potential options. As for the 27th pick, there is a plethora of prospects on both sides of the ball and the secondary, most notably offensive tackles J.C. Latham and Tyler Guyton from Alabama and Oklahoma. Make sure to be on the lookout for these players all weekend long, and we'll see who suits up for the Cardinals this upcoming season.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm interested to see what the Cardinals do with their 2 first-round draft picks this year.
The Cardinals do have a few paths they could take with their picks, so members of the Red Sea or the Bird Gang should keep their eyes on the Combine and the upcoming draft. Last night was the Final Four in the Girls High School Basketball Open Division State Playoffs, and for the first time, the semifinals were played as a doubleheader at the same site.
Yeah, Josh, Mountain Point High School was the host, and the first game featured the Pinnacle Pioneers and the Xavier Gators. Xavier, led by head coach Jennifer Gillum, led most of the way, and the Gators rolled on to victory with a final score of 69-53, as Xavier punched their ticket to Saturday's state title game, when they will try to win the program's first ever state championship. In game number 2, the defending Open Division State champion Desert Vista Thunder took on the top-seeded Hamilton Huskies. It was a thrilling game that went into overtime before the Thunder pulled away for a 57-53 victory. And now Desert Vista, under first-year head coach Aaron O'Brien, will look to go back-to-back against a talented Xavier team that's trying to make history.
Gosh, it's almost indescribable. I feel like I'm floating on clouds, but they're, my heart is racing, and I'm just so proud. Like, I am so proud of every single one of those girls.
Woo! I'm so grateful to God for this win. I tell you, it's been a long time coming. This group of seniors deserve to be in the final game.
The title game will take place 5 o'clock Saturday night at Arizona Veterans Memorial Coliseum.
That's all the time we have today for this edition of Cronkite Sports Report. We now send it back to Eric and Leslie.
Thanks, Kevin and Josh. After the break, an event that's been with us for thousands of years.
That's right, Eric. Not only is this event ancient, this event only happened in the same year as a presidential election. Any guesses? Find out what we're talking about after this quick break.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles.
In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Before we go, a quick reminder about something that only happens every 4 years.
That's right, Leslie. This is a leap year, which means we get an extra day here in February.
And that extra day comes tomorrow, February 29th. Fun fact, it was Julius Caesar who first implemented the leap day back in 46 BC. And leap days happen the same year as a U.S. presidential election. It also means an extra day to pay rent.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thank you for joining us.